To another Queer Money follow-up. We're excited to have you. This is episode 55, covering the 55th episode of the Queer Money podcast. When we talked with Caleb and Matthew Arring on a show titled Increase Your Income with business coaches Caleb and Matthew of LGBTQ Entrepreneur. So our question for you today is, do you have a coach? Because you need one, as we learned, and that's what we talked about with Caleb and Matthew when they had their business LGBTQ Entrepreneur. They were doing business coaching for LGBTQ folks who wanted to have a successful business, and they were helping coach people do that. And this is actually something that David and I have taken advantage of several times.
Right. Yeah, we've had a variety of coaches who have helped us more for us specifically for our business and how we can grow our business, how we can get a second voice in what we're doing. It's interesting that one of the things that we talked about on this particular episode was that whole idea of how often we blame our failures or we blame our lack of the success that we want to have, or we blame the things that are happening in our lives
that we
don't like. We oftentimes blame those on everyone else other than ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that what's interesting is that we can get inside of our own, when we get inside of our own heads, or when we get inside of a small group of people, there's kind of an echo chamber, or with a group of people, it's called groupthink, where everybody starts to kind of generally think in the same direction when you have this same group of people, but the exact same thing happens in your head where you constantly think, oh yes, I'm making the right decision. This is the right thing to do. 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 And then when things don't work out, it's not the decision maker who's made all the, this is the right decision, this is the right decision, this is the right decision. We oftentimes blame other things or other circumstances. We have fallen prey to this a lot of times.
Yeah, and in fact, Caleb had a great quote on this particular episode where he said, the struggle that people think that they have isn't the struggle that they really have.
Right.
And this applies not only to business, but it can apply to many aspects of life. And for us, personally, it's mostly about business. It's kind of what we're most focused on right now is growing our business. And while it might seem that, I think people probably assume that we're fortunate that it's the two of us working on our business. And well, of course it's fortunate. It doesn't mean that we're immune from that sort of group think.
Right.
We kind of come up with similar ideas, or we think the same. We see the same value in ideas, whereas sometimes you need that outside person to come in and say, no, that's not really smart, or have somebody who's 5 to 10 steps ahead of you, who's already kind of done what you've done, who can guide you along and say, yeah, I've tried this in the past myself and it didn't actually work out, and here's what I would suggest. And that's kind of what you and I have benefited from, where we've worked with, we have had several coaches, whether it's one-on-one coaching, or we're working in course groups that we're a part of, either Facebook groups or courses that we're in. Mm-hmm. One that we're specifically in right now is Activate by Ruth Sukup, where she has a multi-million-dollar business, all kind of based on 2 websites that she has, and there's other organizations within that business, of course, but we're using sort of her as sort of our talisman for how we're trying to grow our own business. And she's achieved a level of success that similar success that we would like to achieve someday. So we're kind of using her, even though she's a straight woman, we're using her as sort of our guide, and something that probably everybody else needs to do.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that was kind of funny that I think we all kind of chuckled at was the topic of, is your message a mess? Right. Yeah. A lot of times we know exactly what we are good at, and we know what we can help people with, but the delivery of that, or the message that we're sharing with people, can be sometimes so obscured by what we think is right that we're not actually delivering or communicating the right message, right? One of the people that we have engaged with has this quote where he says, the transformation is in the transaction, right? That if you are out there, whether you're selling somebody a product or you want to be a coach or anything like that, you can't really help people if they don't invest in the value that you have to provide, right? The same thing goes for us on the flip side, right? We cannot expect somebody to deliver us a bunch of value without us actually showing that we appreciate or will exchange for that value, right? You would never expect to show up at a Bentley dealership and say, "Well, I deserve a Bentley. You should just give me one."
Right.
We shouldn't go to a coach, do the same thing, right? I need help because my business isn't doing what it wants, or I need help with getting my body in shape, or I need help with my love life, with my relationships. You should just give this to me for free. Well, no one, I mean, you don't work for free. I don't work for free. None of us can really work for free. Granted, there are times when we give away our services as a way to show people what we can provide, but we can't do it all for free because we don't live in a free economy or free society.
Right. And there's all sorts of data that shows that you got to have some skin in the game. If you actually really want to make effective change in your life, you kind of have to put some skin in the game. If you have nothing to lose, there's not a whole lot of motivation. Studies have shown that people kind of bail out on what their particular goal is because they didn't put some investment in the game. And then there's there are 12 universal laws, and one of the universal laws is the power of equitable exchange. There has to be an equitable exchange in a transaction. Otherwise, you're kind of going against the universal law, and you don't want to do that. But we saw this, when we got to this particular point in the podcast episode number 55, when we listened to it, it made me think of that example of the cupcake shop owner. A couple months ago, we saw somewhere, I forget exactly where.
We were actually in an LGBT entrepreneur group in Facebook, and the cupcake shop owner was, I don't want to necessarily say begging, but they were soliciting donations to their business because they then wanted to be able to start or keep their business running.
Yeah, the business was going under.
Right. So they had a business. The business was a cupcake shop. The cupcake shop, when you made a purchase, would then turn around and donate money to
up to 20%.
Right. Various charities, right? There were various charities that they wanted to donate money to. They wanted us as business owners in the group to donate to their business so that their business then could turn around and run so that they could donate money to these charities.
And that's an example of your message being a mess.
Right.
Are you a nonprofit or are you a business?
Right.
And you can do both, but it seemed from what her story was, as she was sort of sacrificing generating revenue, generating a profit, because she was more concerned about giving back to the community in some way, shape, or form.
Right. I mean, I think of, like, for example, I think it's Tom's Shoes, right? Buy a pair, we donate a pair. There's a lot of good that can happen from corporate goodwill and wanting to donate, but that's once your business is a established business, right? Yeah. Right? It's hard for us to be able to donate or give when our business isn't established and it's struggling itself. We need to, and what the thing is that what a business coach can often do, or a coach can do, is show you where, specifically in business, where your messaging may be incorrect, or the path that you're taking to get to a profitable business or to grow your sales or to grow revenue is just not in line with what is actually truly going to happen, right? We all can come up with ideas. I'm an idea person. I come with ideas all the frickin' time. John actually tells me I need to stop.
Sometimes I cap him on his ideas in a day.
Right. And we can come up with these ideas where we think it's going to work, but then reality is that is not something that either our target market wants, or it's something that just the world itself doesn't need, right? People just won't pay for that or don't want that product or service anymore, right? And so that's one of the benefits of having a coach.
Yeah, they can kind of guide you along. And I think one of the challenges that a lot of business owners have in America. I think this is a broad challenge because we see this in the various other business coaching groups that we're a part of. But I think it's also quite evident with LGBTQ entrepreneurs is that there's sort of this like hesitation or fear to make money or to want to make money or to have people know that we want to make money. So we're on board with being business owners. We want to provide a product or a service and a value to customers, but there's almost sort of this like, but I don't want people to know I want to make money or even that I need to make money. There's kind of like this shame around it. And if you're a business,
or if you want to be a business, your number one responsibility is to make money, as this cupcake owner was experiencing. Otherwise, your business doesn't stay open. You're not providing a value or a service to anybody, and you don't have any money to be able to give to the charities that you want to support. So your number one, if you're a for-profit business, your number one responsibility is to make money. When you can make that money and you have enough profit that you can then take 5, 10, 20% of that and donate to organizations that are important to you, that's fine. All the more power. Yes,
do
absolutely do it.
Don't sacrifice your number one responsibility because you're more focused on being esoteric. Now, if your goal is to simply provide service, to donate to causes or whatever, start a nonprofit. That's a whole other different entity, and there's no shame in that, and there's a lot of value in that. So to go down that path. But if you're going to choose to become a business owner, you need to focus on making a profit. And I think that's, to your point, that's the value that having a business coach, this woman having a business coach would have, is that the business coach could say, hey, you need to kind of focus a little bit. And this is kind of the value that we've gotten over the years.
Yeah. And the nice thing is when you are working with a coach, and John, like we said, we have worked with a lot of other coaches, then you basically get a second pair of eyes, or sometimes multiple pairs of eyes, especially if you're in a group coaching situation. You get all of those additional eyes on what it is you're doing that can provide you with the motivation to make the changes so that you are a success, right? And there's lots of different kinds of coaches, right? When we say that gay men need a coach, or that queer people in general need a coach, it don't think of it as I'm a failure because I need a coach. Think of it as I want to get to the next level. Remember, people, even Michael Jordan, to the day he finished in the NBA, had a coach who helped him every single time he went out to play. Every single time he went to practice, he had a coach because that coach could help him improve. We, as individuals, can get that kind of value, whether that's in our lives, in our business, with fitness, with diet, with our relationships, whatever. If you want your life to improve and you have the accessibility, look at getting a coach.
Yeah, I mean, just the value that coaches can provide is that they help you gain clarity and create a vision around your goal. They help you identify blockers to reach your goal, and that's something that we've benefited a lot from the coaches that we paid for. They also help you identify a plan to overcome those blockers, which is even more beneficial. And then they kind of guide and encourage you along, and then help you come up with ideas to tack when a particular strategy isn't necessarily panning out the way that you want it to. And so, basically, overall, with whatever your goal is, and we're not saying you have to find a coach for every aspect of your life, but for the very important things or the things that you're struggling with, it makes sense to hire some sort of coach because they can save you time, money, and probably most importantly, frustration.
Yeah. An example of this is we know individuals who were not part of our credit card payoff plan, which is a course that we have that helps people create a lifestyle that helps them get out of debt faster. And we have individuals who waited around and didn't start the course. And then when they did, they talked to us about how just having the regular calls, having that environment really helped them it helped them make progress. We all know that it works, right? People who have a fitness coach waiting for them at the gym are more likely to get out of bed in the morning and go to the gym. It just happens, right?
You have somebody that's expecting you, and that will nudge you friendly in a nice way when you don't arrive.
Right, exactly. Especially when we're paying for one, right?
Right, because
So-
then you have your skin in the game. So why would you pay for something you're not going to take advantage of? You figure, okay, I put money down, I'm going to take advantage of it. And then when you know that that person's waiting there for you and is going to hold you accountable to whatever it is you said you were going to do, that kind of adds more motivation for you to sort of execute and achieve your goal.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah, do you have a coach? I guess that's one of our questions to you. It'd be kind of curious. We'd love to see in the comments if you have a coach and what kind of coach you have. John and I have expressed that we have predominantly had business coaches for that aspect of our lives. We really like the other aspects of our lives, but we're looking
Kind of
to continually
focused right
improve
now.
our business, right?
Exactly. So thank you for joining us for another Queer Money follow-up. Here's your Queer Money follow-up takeaway from this episode. Download your free copy of the 5 building blocks of a happy gay life at debtfreeguys.com/happy. And then, like we said, answer the question in the comments below to let us know if you have a coach or if you're considering getting one.
Yeah.
Then join us tomorrow for episode 56 of the Queer Money follow-up series, where we talk about the podcast episode number 56, where we interviewed a woman who shortly after we interviewed her was becoming a financial planner, and she was is the daughter of 2 lesbians. And so we talked about her experience growing up in a family of being led by 2 lesbians, and how that informed her life and the value that it provided her. And she was just a really phenomenal woman, and we were excited to interview her for a number of reasons. If for no other reason than she was a woman getting into financial planning.
Right.
And then lastly, but not leastly, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel with whatever platform you're on, and then set notifications on this channel so you can know when we have videos go live or when we upload videos. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow.